All right, Speedromizer community, we are sitting at 12:45 right now. We got one donation in, and that make sure I'm not muted. We have a $25 donation from March TV that says, "Good luck to the rest of the runners," and thank you for that donation. So that goal that I talked about earlier is $255 away. That's 255 Canadian or $185.26 USD. I think we can make that. Can we make that? Let's hit 1,300 before the end of Hime's quest. Throwing out that challenge. I know we can do it. Give us a couple more minutes. We are getting set up for that aforementioned run of Hime's quest. Stick around. All right, Speedrunners community, the moment you've been waiting for is here. We are setting up for Hime's quest by Sleepyhead08. My friends, take it away.
Hello everyone, I am Sleepyhead08. I'm joined by my coaches. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure thing, I'll go first. Hello, friends and fellow gamers. I'm Tempest Mask 1000. Some of you know me as Steve. I was on last night with Ultima 4, and, well, this is the game I submitted, so I'm pretty excited to see how this one goes, in real time, no less. And then the other fella joining us is the person that practically got me into this speedrun, that being the fella who ran this for GDQ, Skateman222.
Yeah, it's like a chain of showing one game to another. But yeah, I may have ran this game once or twice, and I'm excited to see Sleepyhead kill it here with Hime's quest.
All right, so we can go through the beginning of the game while we start to explain the game. But time is going to start once I start the game. So countdown will be 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay,
right.
So if you don't know a bit about this game, this was actually launched sometime last year by a team called Poppyworks, which they were brought upon by Crunchyroll themselves, saying, hey, we'd like you to make a Game Boy Color game featuring our mascot, who is also a VTuber, Hime. And so the end result is a game that's a bit of a love letter to the whole top-down adventure perspective, similar to that of The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening, or the Oracle games. And this was also developed in GB Studio, which is a very open developer program for making these sort of games available for official hardware. So it is confirmed you can indeed play this, and for free no less. But more details on that in a bit. Well, we're just going into the basic quest stuff, where we just found a mysterious traveler who just collapsed, and now that we're talking with her name is Alma, by the way, she's gonna give us a sword. A very, very essential weapon for trying to get past those nefarious slimes we just took a couple of damage boosts across. But yeah, anything to add, Skate?
No, so here Sleepy is going to be making their way to what would be the second dungeon of the game, but we're going to skip the first dungeon as it does not exist due to some cool tricks. And on the way there, they're going to be collecting some optional chests that contain Yeni, which is this game's currency, and they're going to be using this to get the most broken item in this whole game that'll make the skips possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So bombs in this game, they're going to cost a couple of purchases. The first, of course, being a license that will be required to even use them in the first place. And luckily, we do get our first package of bombs with them, so we'll be just fine once we get that license and all, but we will have to eventually come back to get some more because, of course, there is no easy way to find them. Unfortunately, this game does not give you bomb drops. Enemies can give you health recoveries or money, which the currency in this game, by the way, is called Yenny, a nice little portmanteau of Zenny and Yenny, or sorry, Zenny and Yen, if you're familiar with both forms. Well, really not much to talk about. The whole map, though, we could quickly go over that. It's actually not that big as you might think. In fact, it's actually just enough. Like, this game, in terms of the overall content, is surprisingly short, especially in 100%. Don't let that fool you, though, because this game does actually have a bit of a currency problem, in which that does make 100% a bit of a grind. But right now, we're just really routing our route based on what chests are the most convenient to collect, which is why we did see Sleepy enter the new Crunchy City Mall, I believe it was called.
Yep, and as you just saw there, Hime just magically walked over a pit, and that's the most useful thing of the bombs, the unintended feature of bombs, letting you skip over holes based off of how you place it when you go over the pit. So here we are in Dungeon 2 now.
Yeah, we imagine Poppyworks did not account for this possibility whatsoever, and that's to be said for sure. So, normally, what you're supposed to do in the game is you have to go into the first dungeon because in order to jump over holes, you need an item called the Winged Boots, and you do get that as a result of going through that first dungeon, but because it does save a decent bit of time, we just pay no mind to the thirsty adventurer who coincidentally is named Steve. So I happen to share a name with one of the NPCs of this game. I don't know how to feel about that one, though, because I feel like that guy is a bit of he's a bit too dehydrated, so I would never let myself do that. But anyway, those bombs are very important for essentially crossing gaps that the game would normally not want us to do yet, but it's also going to come in handy for attacking enemies with the most damage, as bombs deal more damage than our sword. And so, the one thing we gotta ask ourselves is, how do we use that effectively? Because those bombs are normally set on a timer. Well, it just so happens that I found a very interesting trick during my casual playthrough, no less, where if you keep swinging your sword after you plant a bomb, you can negate one of the lag frames that is making up part of this timer, and thus effectively set off the bomb a bit sooner. This has been rather instrumental toward cutting down the overall time of this run. Skate came up with the name Tempest Slash. I like to say Sieve Sword, but yeah, whichever play on words you like better, I'll let you be the judge of that. Of course, we're just really trying to get through level 2 as efficiently as possible, and so we did see Sleepy collect the health upgrade. This is always a marathon-safe strat to do, because one of the downsides of this game is that depending on when you save, if you game over, the game will boot you back to the file select, so you have to make sure you saved, otherwise it's not looking good for your run. And now we're going to be coming up to the boss of the dungeon, No Fungus. The whole idea was to turn off these drainage switches, basically, to open up the door. And now we have this big guy. This was one of the hugest forms of RNG within the run, but Sleepy here managed to find a way to make that boss fight even easier, which he is attempting that right now. So we're going to just give him a chance to see if we get that 2 cycle.
Yeah, looking good so far. So another interesting thing that Sleepy found here is, well, I guess I found that you can make the bomb infinitely do this thing where it just doesn't detonate. But then Sleepy found a good use for it here by making a 2 cycle possible here on No Fungus. Well done, that was awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy because So the whole means of damaging No Fungus is you have to hit the arm. There's no other way. And it just seemed as though he could do as he pleased, whether he wanted to, as you would say, raise the roof. And in doing so, it causes more sporelings to spawn from the pipes, assuming that you haven't already destroyed one of the two that was already there. So now we got to make our way back, and this is where we do at least need a few bombs to safely continue crossing through part of the overall land and make it to our next destination, the House of Salty the Witch, which we passed by on the way to here. Now, I can't remember if the Salty the Witch is supposed to be a reference to a character from some sort of media or something like that, but I'll have to look it up later. Just, if you do recognize Salty, feel free to correct me, but yeah, right now, she's just telling us that she had lost her magical powers, but with a bit of some mushroom that we just collected from defeating No Fungus, we now give it to her, and thus she gives us the bicep card in return. Think of it as the power bracelet, which will allow us to push these, I like to call them Easter head rocks. They're just these yellow-colored totem rocks that you can't really do much else with until you get the bicep card, like so.
Yeah, another thing I wanted to point out too is we have pretty limited health in the run. We start with 4, and Sleepy did pick up a safety health upgrade along with another Yeni chest in Dungeon 2. And so with only 5 health, you kind of have to make sure that you manage your health pretty well. And luckily the Kitsune statues, which save your game, also heal you to full. So making use of that to, not die is pretty helpful here.
So now we're coming up to what I guess we could call the cat block, or the cat portion of the run, in right smack dab in the middle. By the way, Sleepy did buy the fishing pole from Beach Town, which it will come in handy as a mandatory item for one of the quests for one of the major items to progress the overall game. But now we collected that cat Tenmaru from that random farm right there, and now we're gonna go to Hime's cat, Yuzu. And so Yuzu, he has a bit of a petting minigame where we gotta get him 5 times, but he'll also try to push us back with these fish quote bubbles, which I still don't understand why.
Pet the cat. Oh my god, this RNG is awful.
Pet the cat. Pet the cat. Yeah!
Alright, let's go.
You can pet the cat if he lets you.
Yeah.
And you can do it again, for no extra reward, unfortunately, except for the fun of it. Also, there's another boss inside Hime and Sudachi, her roommate's house. We don't do anything with him because he's not story important, but we do have a all bosses category or something like that. So, he's kind of fun. It's just a little extra content to the game overall, and it does give you some extra money if you beat him, so overall good for 100% as well. Hey, whose house is this anyway, and why did they do a horrible job with their electricity? Oh, wait a second, that's Junji Ito, famous mangaka for the... Did you ever know about the award-winning manga series Uzumaki? He's best known for Uzumaki, as well as Yo and a bunch of other manga that he's penned, all sorts of stuff that have been adapted into all sorts of anime series and stuff that you may or may not have heard of. Definitely give it a read if you're ever interested. I still remember the first time I read Uzumaki. Ooh, that first volume is certainly something.
Yeah, so now Sleepy is making their way over to the 3rd dungeon, and like Tempest said, we already have the fishing rod from the other shop, so I don't have to go there anymore. And we'll just, on the way to Dungeon 3, hand over the fishing rod to get the cheese. It's basically a big trade quest that we gotta do. And then, yeah, head over to Dungeon 3.
Sleepy, would you say this is a good time to pass it on over to our host real quick?
Yep.
Alright, DJ, take us away.
Alright. Just making sure I'm unmuted on everything. So if you'd like to donate to QMUNITY, you can visit our Tiltify campaign at speedromizer.live/donate. You can also donate in the, you can also find the donate link below the stream and in chat by typing !donate. All of your donations are sent directly to QMUNITY, and when you're donating, don't forget to put your money towards our active challenges and polls. You can tell I read that straight from the script because there are none. Almost every single incentive was met. So thank you for that, everybody. I'm going to do a quick refresh. No current donations.
No worries there. Thank you so much for everybody watching all the same and for raising just over $1,200 for community. We've been doing such a great job, and I definitely want to see where we can go with that amount by the end of the event. Seriously, this has been one heckin' awesome Speedromizer. Just some banger runs today, and just overall throughout the event, for real, for real.
Absolutely.
So this is the third dungeon. This is, I forget the proper name for this one, but it's essentially your typical graveyard dungeon of sorts. And this takes part in the hills where there's a special door that required a special key, which we happened to get from Junji Ito for bringing back his cat. Funny how it just so happens he somehow ended up finding the key with a skeleton on for a face jewel. And yeah, we're doing a bit of a simple puzzle here. We're collecting some mini keys in order to then unlock what'll be our unlocking mechanism to get our way into the boss chamber. So Sleepy is going through what it seems to be a couple of backtracks. In fact, this is kind of a necessity just by way of how the dungeon was designed by Poppyworks. Nothing really to it.
Yeah, and as you can see here, just tanking damage. That skeleton is notoriously evil, so it's kind of hard to defeat him without taking damage. And here's the 4 key blocks that we have to unlock. So luckily I already have 3 of them, so on the way we're just gonna unlock 3 and to make our way to the 4th key before taking on the boss of Dungeon 3, the Underlord.
Yeah, the Underlord is going to be not that much of a different procedure from what we did with No Fungus. Of course, he will be a lot more hittable. In fact, his weak point will be something that we can basically hit as long as we can reach him. So, yeah, it won't be as RNG heavy. We just want to make sure that he's giving us a feasible pattern at best so that he's not moving away from us too many times. Now, in order to open up the door, Sleepy has to manipulate that tiki head in that very direction which you saw it. But there is a fun fact behind this game, in that the devs hid a special little item that you can also grab, which is also necessary for 100%, by doing a special gamer treasure, if you will. I won't say what it is, because we definitely recommend you guys play this for yourself. Again, this game is free to play. More on that soon, though. Right now, they're getting to the Underlord fight. He's got a few attacks. One that can have his open hand shoot those fireballs at us. The other hand just waving his sword at us like a knife. And he can also teleport around the field if he so chooses to. Nothing too fancy otherwise, you know. It's a very easy fight to just manage overall, but he can play a bit spooky if he so chooses to.
He does have 4 different patterns, so it's kind of annoying when you don't get the pattern you want, but it's always adaptable, so that was a good job of fighting Underlord there.
So now that we have acquired a special key from this very dungeon, this is where we get into finding some more key items that'll be necessary in order to proceed to what will be our final dungeon of the game. Now, this one will not have any special rooms or layouts to it. In fact, it's probably the simplest dungeon of the game, just by principle of having the one concept of a boss rush. So we actually will get to see the first boss that we completely skipped out on when we get there. We'll see what order Sleepy decides to go for, because you can really just take them on in whichever order you so choose. There's really no Mega Man effect going on here whatsoever. It's just a matter of the devs wanted to throw in the boss fights as just one final little challenge for Hime to take on before you yourself get to face the Y2K bug, which we should quickly talk about the plot of this game. We're at an animal village right now that's in the upper left corner of the map, and this is the mayor, who's funnily called the Big Cheese, a giant mouse. And he just so happened to find a TV, which he can't seem to get to work because he just doesn't seem to understand our human knowledge here. This game, by the way, takes place in 1999, if you'd believe it. And so we basically traded the fish to him that we got from the fisherman. So now that we have the TV and the anime DVD from Yuzu, we're going to go back to the anime club, which we tried to spend a bit of an anime club meeting at, and accidentally awakened the Y2K bug. So now it's caused the entire world to distort, which is why we have these fantasy dungeons and characters that don't seem to match. And we're just going to go ahead now and use our newly acquired Anime Club membership pass as proof of our love for anime to allow the porter to let us enter the Dream Casino, which, by the way, you actually would get to see him a little bit earlier if you make use of the fast travel system, which is a bunch of trains. Hey, Skate, I like trains.
I like trains too.
It's unfortunate that we don't really use them, though, because they do.
Yeah.
The cutscenes do cost a little bit more time. Oh, hey, there's Alma. Yeah, that's one of the conversations we usually skip. Oh, there she is again. I didn't even realize that could happen.
Yeah, you can just not talk to Alma and she'll be in 2 rooms at once. It's pretty great.
That's beautiful. That's a basic never happened before moment, but for me as a commentator, I can't even. But yeah, Sleepy's doing a really good job so far, and so now we're just walking into the boss rush here, where we do got to keep a proper management of our overall bombs, because we still only have 8 to work with, but luckily we won't have to save some for the Y2K, which we'll explain that upon that final boss fight. So for now, we're just going to focus on the Underlord first.
Yep, so now we're basically refighting them all. Luckily, we already refilled on our bombs, so we have 8 bombs to work with amongst these 3. So you can
thank
actually
God he teleported to the center.
Yeah. I look, that's just enough bombs to quick kill all of them, basically, so... Yep, that was a fast Underlord.
Yeah, we definitely want to hope for the no fungus 2 cycle to happen twice. I believe we can get it, no problem.
Oh yeah, let's do this.
Come on.
I believe.
Best believe, chat, we need your energy too, please, if you can. Alright, here we go. So, second verse, same as the first. We just need to keep that bomb going for as long as we can. It's funny because this whole trick kind of used a sort of science that we didn't initially think was all that viable, all that much. And then here Sleepy is just happening to utilize that in a way that we didn't even expect. Not long after my discovery. Ooh. Okay, well, looks like he's playing ball there. Thank heck.
Oof.
Sorry, I didn't mean for my whole gushing on the discovery history to just sabotage the fight.
I would not blame you if you took the save statue right now, but...
Yeah, that's all I'm about to do.
Yeah.
Alright. No problem.
Yeah, Klepto's, it's a scary boss in this category if you don't see the boss very often, because it is very... That's at the end of the run, basically. Normally it'd be at the start of the run, but, yeah, I think playing it safe here is totally fine. So here's Klepto. Here's the boss we didn't get to see.
Oh, that's unfortunate. It's fine though. Kleptopatra doesn't have all that much health to her name. Normally 2 bombs are enough to take her out entirely, but she still goes down pretty quickly with the sword as well. So at least 1 bomb to half that health is, not the worst scenario of all things.
Yeah.
All right, Sleepy, you ready for some good old anime plot power-up?
Yep.
With the power of friendship?
Let's go save anime.
Let's go save anime. Real quick, so this is going to be the Y2K fight, and time will be once the final hit happens, and Sleepy needs to get a total of 32. Now, at this rate, we are going to gain the ability to fly, so this will be something of a mini shmup, where we can now control Hime in all in 4 directions, and we do want to be mindful of its attacks. Of course, each of the attacks that have been dealt to Hime, I like to call it the Shatter Hand effect, where you only take 1 point of damage, but we do still got to be mindful of that, because, of course, it would be a bit tragic if we do die. So let's see what we got here. The weak point is the head, and we can hit as far as even the mouth tendrils, so here we go. I think that's 3.
Yeah, so the Y2K Bughair has a couple different attacks. The one you want to see is the one they're doing right now, where they're just spitting a block in the middle, because it'll never hit you. The side ones are kind of annoying. The tail is probably the most annoying, I'd say, because it kind of forces you to move unless you want to tank the HP if you're safe.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good so far, honestly. Get ready on time. It'll probably be in about 5 more swords.
There we go.
That's time.
GG.
GG. That was an awesome run.
GG, that was a solid run.
All right. What's his final time?
I'm watching the replay now. 22:21.
Nice.
Great
I'm biased,
job.
but I do like that there's a 222 in the time here.
You know what? I agree. And just like that, we have saved anime, and now we get to enjoy some good old anime with our friends. Oh, apparently, too, the club members are Jimmy and Bimmy, named after the Double Dragons. But yeah, this is a very charming game. Hey, Sleepy, we'll let you start things off. Anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, sorry I was super focused that entire time, but I think I did a good job of showing off basically everything that Tempest taught me and that Skate taught Tempest. So pretty proud of that. Hope everyone enjoyed, and I'll let you guys finish out.
Absolutely. Yeah, special thanks to Speedromizer for selecting Hime's Quest. Among all the games I submitted to this event, I think this one definitely deserved it, because I will say we don't have a whole lot of runners on the leaderboard, and, well, we're perfectly fine with that. I think we would certainly love to see anybody give this game a try. I will say this game is available for legal download. You can get your own ROM on the official Crunchyroll website for the game itself. And if you're not much of an emulator player or flashcard player, they actually do have programmed a browser version of the game that you can use as well. So they got a few options going too. And if they happen to have a official physical cartridge that you can still buy, I'm not too sure about whether that's still available, because that was a limited run thing. That's how I happen to have the game myself. I know Skate as well. And yeah, I gotta say, the fact that Crunchyroll went out of their way to make a retro game and still made it so readily available for us to play once it was done, major props to them, and bigger props to Poppyworks for just making the most out of this whole thing, really. Like, I feel like even for as short content of a game this is, there's a lot of charm to it, and I highly recommend it. You can't go wrong with $0 for something as nice as this.
Yeah, definitely agreed. 2023 was a big year for Game Boy Color games, believe it or not, between this and Grimace's birthday, to name a few. But, yeah, I also want to just chip in and say thank you to Speedromizer for putting on this awesome event, to everyone for donating, for Tempest for submitting this, and for Sleepy for absolutely killing it, learning it so quickly, and putting on a good show here. I mean, they didn't miss a single bomb skip. That was impressive, so great job, Sleepy. And yeah, HimesQuest.com. Play the game. It's awesome. It's free. And yeah, hopefully maybe get a few more runners on the leaderboard. That'd be great. But you know what? I'm happy with just the one more here through this event. So thank you again.
Yeah. And with that said, again, let's see how much we can end the event for community for. I want us to see us hit that 1,500. Chat, I believe in you all. So we'll just sign off for now, saying keep watching, keep loving anime, and may we all meet again soon. Till next time, ciao, amici.